Tonight on CTV, one CSU club is calling out the university for going against sustainable practices.
Future generations to understand that action is possible and it's important and it can actually make a difference.
And CSU softball is in the middle of their season, but did you know that the team sued the university way back when?
And students strapped on their belt buckles and prepared for a hoedown this past weekend.
All that and more on CTV starting right now. Good evening, Rams, and welcome back to Thursday Night News. I'm Naomi Hillmer.
And I'm JJ McKinney. Fort Collins police are investigating 2 hit-and-run crashes as a pickup truck hit 2 motorcycles this weekend.
The incident occurred on South College Avenue, where a black Harley-Davidson motorcycle was struck by a Dodge Dakota pickup. The Harley was carrying 2 people, both of which were injured and taken to the hospital.
And not even 2 minutes later, police learned about another crash involving the same vehicle, crashing into another Harley-Davidson along Drake and South College. The rider was hospitalized with non-threatening injuries.
Police were able to locate the license plate off the pickup's broken bumper. Investigators are working to determine if there was any foul play in the collisions and if the driver was having a medical emergency that impaired his driving.
The driver of the vehicle is reportedly fully cooperating.
Ali Niaz live in the studio to see if this muggy weather will be sticking around. Ali?
Thanks, Naomi, and good evening, Rams. My name is Ali Niaz, and I'm here to give you a rundown of this week's weather. Now, for the current conditions, today it was cloudy and very, very windy. Right now we're sitting at 43 degrees Fahrenheit, with the sunset at 7:44 p.m., humidity at 17%, and winds at 22 miles per hour. I'm just as happy as the next guy when I say that spring has finally sprung. Flowers are blooming and more students are out on the plaza enjoying the nice weather. Now into our overnight lows. On the east over here we have a couple of red flag warnings. Red flag warnings are low humidity, high wind, high chances of fire. We have Burlington at 26, Lamar at 27. Along I-25 we have Fort Collins at 28, Denver at 30. And on the west we have Craig at 17, Gunnison at 16. And Grand Junction at 28 with the freeze warning. Now on to our tomorrow's forecast. We see here we have some more cloudy weather, and for our high we have a 52 degrees Fahrenheit high with a low of 28 degrees at sunset at 7:45 p.m. Humidity at 31%, and winds are slowing down a bit at 13 miles per hour. Now on to our 5-day forecast. They say April showers bring May flowers, and I'm looking forward to those May flowers after this next 5 days. On Saturday, we have a high of 43 degrees, a low of 30, some cloudy weather. Sunday, we get a bit of sunshine with a high of 57, low of 34. The same on Monday, bit of clouds, bit of sunshine, high of 63, low of 41. On Tuesday and Wednesday, though, we get a bit of that April rain, a high of 53 on Tuesday, low of 34. On Wednesday, we get a high of 49 and a low of 31. And that brings me to the end of this forecast. We're winding down to the last 2 weeks of the semester, so use that April sunshine to help push you through your exams. Stay safe and stay studious, Rams. Back to you, JJ.
Thanks, Ali. CSU prides itself on environmental health, being ranked one of the best sustainable schools in the country by the Advancement of Sustainability in Higher Education. However, one local CSU activist group, Divest CSU, claims otherwise and wants the school to answer for investments they say the university is profiting on at the planet's expense.
I just wasn't expecting you to say that.
Barbara Goldman and Eli Bauman have lived lives dedicated to protecting the environment. While they are both from 2 different eras, an alumni and a new student, both came together over a shared love of nature.
Where should I put my energy? I decided the climate was the best place. We don't solve climate, it's gonna ruin everything else too.
If I'm going to be spending my energy anyways, I want it to be something that I'm, at the end of the day, happy about and believe in.
This love for nature and a strong desire to defend it led them to Divest CSU, a coalition of students, alumni, and staff dedicated to building a more sustainable future. And part of this future is Divest CSU's protest for ending CSU's investment in the fossil fuel industry.
We have got 4 demands, you can call them, or goals, for the foundation to disclose what all the investments are, to divest, to take all of that money out of those investments. The third is to reinvest in sustainable, environmentally positive, socially positive investments.
CSU is known around the world for its green thumb as an environmental leader with programs dedicated to conservation projects, wildlife protection, and climate-safe agriculture. Yet, despite the university's promise of helping create a sustainable future for the planet, CSU has invested in over $7 million in endowments to the fossil fuel industry.
Folks my age need to understand that our money is going somewhere, and we can and do have a say in that. Do, however, want future generations to understand that action is possible and it's important and it can actually make a difference.
Bauman isn't the only student who shared concerns about an uncertain climate future.
It makes me really upset knowing students' tuitions are going into the investment of fossil fuel.
I really think that CSU should be putting all that energy that it's putting into fossil fuels, into wind and solar.
In the protection of the future, Divest CSU wants to make a change in the university.
We want CSU to take a stand specifically to not support fossil fuel development or investment.
The group plans to hold a protest next week.
Restrictive, expensive, and overall difficult is what many students and even members of City Council use to describe the occupancy ordinance U+2. The rule has been in place since the 1960s here in Fort Collins, where community members are not allowed to live with more than 2 people, with the exception of family. During CSU's annual roundtable on Monday, an event where students can learn about the inner workings of city government, U+2 was one of the hottest topics of the evening. During the event, Mayor Jenny Ardent said, "We call it U+2. That is quite restrictive. I think it's time to re-examine our occupancy ordinance." And while many CSU students are pushing to abolish U+2, there are members of the Fort Collins who are in support of the ordinance, one of which is City Council member Kelly Olson, who believes, "I've been an original supporter of this occupancy ordinance. I still am. There maybe could be a tweak here or there, but as far as tossing it all out, no, I'm not for that. But I will listen and learn." For now, the fate of U+2 is still up in the air.
As inflation causes prices to grow, demand for higher livable wages goes up with it. With housing prices and cost of living going up and the minimum wage stagnant, according to data by the Wall Street Journal, the situation has become dire for a lot of low-income workers. Now, Fort Collins City Council hopes to answer calls for higher salaries by voting on a possible minimum wage hike. In a council workshop, the city showed support for the increase, with a proposal that could see the minimum wage increase from $16 to $18 by 2026. Right now, the city follows the state's set minimum wage at $13.65 and around $10 for tipped workers. However, the vote is being postponed, with the council deciding they need more input from minimum wage workers in Fort Collins. Voting on the minimum wage is set to take place next month.
Finding affordable housing in Fort Collins is challenging, but thanks to Odell Brewing, Hartford Homes, and Habitat for Humanity, there may be more affordable homes to come. The partners proposed a plan to the city of Fort Collins to build on the empty field that lies behind Odell Brewing Company. They met with the city of Fort Collins this Monday to discuss the rezoning of the land from an industrial one to a neighborhood conservation buffer zone, which would allow them to build. The land that is currently being used for parking overflow and was once used to discard beet tailings could soon be 140 multifamily units, and 20% would be reserved for affordable housing.
Experiencing homelessness in the city can be brutal, as finding shelter, food, and a place to feel safe and belong is a constant struggle. Now, in an attempt to ease the suffering and get the homeless population of Fort Collins to a better place, Police Services has come up with a plan to restore their hope. The Homeless Outreach and Proactive Engagement Team, or HOPE, is a new service in the community helping those experiencing homelessness. HOPE's goals are to provide people with shelter, resources, and to promote safety. Officers will establish relationships and rebuilding trust with the homeless population. Police Services hope that this will help the homeless community connect to resources to get back on their feet. Don't go away just yet, because after the break, we'll get into Colorado's 420 celebrations. Stay tuned.
Worried about your friend but don't know how to reach out? could say how are you or get a fake tattoo. You can ask with an app if it works for you. You could chat with them in VR. It's so good. If you think you should check in, yeah, you should. Whatever gets you talking.
Reach out to a friend about their mental health.
Whatever gets you talking.
Learn how you can help at seizetheawkward.org.
Last month, more than one large bank with ties to the tech sector collapsed. People were scrambling to take their money out at once, sending ripples through the global banking industry and even affecting Fort Collins. Earlier this year, the Silicon Valley Bank collapsed, making it the biggest bank failure since the 2008 financial crisis. Since then, the FDIC seized both the Silicon Valley Bank and New York's Signature Bank, which also collapsed earlier this year, serving as a reminder of how fragile the U.S. banking system can be.
Every few years, there would be a new banking crisis, and usually they call them bank runs.
A situation often defined by this scene in A Wonderful Life.
Don't look now, but there's something funny going on over there at the bank, George. I've never really seen one, but that's got all the earmarks of being a run.
You're thinking of this place all wrong, as if I had the money back in a safe. The money's not here. Well, your money's in Joe's house. That's right next to yours. And in the Kennedy house, and Mrs. Maitland's house, and 100 others.
So the Silicon Valley bank run is what a lot of people called a self-fulfilled prophecy. Like this house of cards, when people started taking their money away, or taking cards away in this instance, the support slowly starts to fail. But if everybody takes their money away at once, the entire bank collapses. In Silicon Valley's case, the catalyst was rising interest rates.
Banks take your money in, they hold just a tiny fraction of it in liquid assets, and then they invest the rest in loans. Right? Silicon Valley Bank makes lots of loans to the tech sector, and then they were holding a lot of more safe assets that were treasury bonds. So if interest rates go up, the price goes down, and those assets aren't worth anything anymore. Banks know this is a risk, and so the better run banks hedge against this. It's called interest rate risk.
But the outcome of these crises is not what one would expect in Fort Collins.
And so this is happening nationwide. This isn't really just about Fort Collins, but to the extent that Fort Collins has the tech sector, which it does, it'll be exposed to that shock. I guess from a historical perspective, it just feels like, well, yet another in a long line of banking crises.
It may mean that interest rates will not be increasing anytime soon in fear of repeating history.
Around 1,000 live marijuana plants, 200 pounds of processed cannabis, $10,000, and several firearms were found in northern Colorado's Drug Task Force in their latest bust. The task force, or NCDT, shut down suspected national marijuana distributors right here in Fort Collins. They received 5 warrants, all within city limits. Throughout their investigation, they also discovered proof of tax evasion. In the state of Colorado, it is illegal to own more than 6 live marijuana plants over the age of 21. It's also against the law to sell homegrown marijuana byproducts. While the NCDT primarily operates in Larimer County, they assist with regional drug task force as well. But it would not be right to bring up marijuana without talking about 420. I mean, what else is there to say? I mean, it's a celebratory holiday, in my personal opinion.
I guess it is. I mean, I even went to the store today and I got a discount just because it was 420, which I thought was pretty interesting. I've never seen that before.
I guess I know what you're going to do after the show.
Oh, no. That's not what I'm saying.
Well, Rams, today is the day where thousands of Coloradans come together to share their love for cannabis culture. Now joining us live in the studio is our very own Max Dietz with more. Max?
Thanks, JJ. That's right, the temperature isn't the only thing that's high this week as students around campus prepare to celebrate the unofficial cannabis holiday. Yesterday, I asked students on campus to share their experience and opinions involving cannabis as a college student.
I'm not originally from Colorado, so I'm not, super into the weed culture here. But, since I moved here, it's everywhere. You're gonna show some interest. So now I am a smoker.
Honestly, to each its own. It depends on if you're doing it medically, recreational. If it's for you, it's for you. If it's not, it's not. It's not for me. I've had enough experience to realize that I don't like it.
I also visited the local Green Solution dispensary to talk to one of their employees.
So definitely THC percentage does not mean as much as people think it does. THC percentage isn't gonna necessarily give you a better experience. It just means that there's more THC in the plant. I mean, I feel like they should research what kind of products they want. Do you want edibles? Do you want vape? Do you want flower? Whatever you want to do. I mean, it's come a long way, in the 10 or so years that it's been legal here in Colorado in terms of production and quality.
It's like a warm blanket on your head, and it's just like, it's cool to sit in, but I don't use it as a tool for anything.
While it may be fun to celebrate 420, don't forget to do so in a safe manner. Back to you guys.
Thanks, Max.
School spirit filled the plaza this Tuesday while the CSU Alumni Association celebrated the 20th annual I Love CSU Day.
With CSU designating April as Celebrate Colorado State Month, the event centered around why students love the school and why they chose to be a Ram.
It also became a statewide holiday. Governor Jared Polis declared April 18th, 2023 as the official I Love CSU Day, and students like Sandy Rath hit the plaza to celebrate.
CSU Day technically is like a celebration for our love for CSU, and we just like play games and just like talk about our experiences.
CSU returned the love for students through discounted coffee, beer, and food across town. Now, I don't know about you, JJ, but I feel like we should have just gotten the day off if it's I Love CSU Day.
I honestly agree. I would have loved the day off, especially get to sleep in, catch up on classes. I mean, it was such a nice day, too.
Exactly, and it's a national holiday, so I don't see why not.
So amazing. Oh. Well, don't go away, because Madeline Davis is up next to give us an insight on the history of one of CSU's athletics' most profitable teams.
Multiple studies have shown that marijuana can slow both driver reaction and response time, which can be really dangerous. He's here. He's here. Wait. What? I can't drive. Why? I'm high. Oh.
How's it going, Ram fans? Welcome back from the break. My name is Madeline Davis. Tonight I've got a special story about the history of CSU softball you may not know about, plus a look into the upcoming matchups for Rams tennis. All of that coming up on Thursday Night Sports, which starts right now. As one of two Division I programs in the state, softball at CSU has become a Northern Colorado staple. In only the past couple years, this team has seen a Mountain West championship in a brand new stadium. But it was only 3 decades ago that this same team was cut from Colorado State University, leaving a group of Rams to fight for their rights to play for the school they loved. To many, this may just look like a new stadium. But to Jen Roberts and this group of Rams, it is a direct result of a battle they fought nearly 30 years ago when the university decided to cut the softball program.
I got some bad news, they've dropped the program, I don't know what we're gonna do, and it was just kind of like shock.
CSU cut the softball team in the summer of 1992. Cutting women's programs was common for the time. This led to teams filing cases against their universities, one of which was the Rams. Few of these cases made it to the Supreme Court, and even fewer ended in victory for the athletes. The ones that did make it garnered national attention. The Rams had the whole country watching them, and they came out on top.
We were all in. Like, everyone that decided to stay, everybody was in, no matter how hard it got. We had a really good legal team that they were super supportive of just understanding what Title IX meant for us.
The court found CSU guilty of violating Title IX, and this led to the softball program getting reinstated in 1994, just in time for Michelle to join the team.
I was grateful because now I had the opportunity to stay in town and play for my home school. I don't think I quite understood the capacity of what these girls did to bring the program back.
By the time Michelle graduated, the team went from playing games at local parks to having a field on campus. Today, that field is a stadium. Grad student and current third baseman for the Rams, Kate Cook, is grateful for the new stadium and the path the alumni have paved for today's generation of Rams.
It's really inspiring to kind of see it go full circle, and from all the alumni games and talking to them about kind of how much they fought to even just get this program back. It's really cool to finally have like a place that we feel good and we feel that it's like home. To have people who, in a time where it wasn't discussed about very much, truly like fight for that. I mean, it's bold and it's kind of gives you chills that people were willing to like do that at that time and set the path for like us to make things better for us now.
Without this ruling, there may be no CSU softball team. This case not only had an impact on CSU, but all of NCAA women's sports in general.
It gave validation to all of us women who have been fighting for so long to be, accepted and have these big D1 programs that do bring fans and do bring a fan base, and people are interested, people want to come watch.
Whether it's a battle on the field or one off, at the end of the day, it's all about fighting for the next generation of Rams and the next generation of women in sports.
It's an opportunity that we don't always get, and just like I hope that little girls are inspired by us, and when they come out to play and we get to sign their little sheets, I mean, everyone kind of dreams of that moment of being like next to someone and like signing a softball and walking away, and so I hope that when they think of this program and think of me, they're just inspired.
It was really inspiring talking to these Rams who fought for so much. It's incredible how much the program has grown, and I'm excited for what's to come in Chapter 2 of the new ballpark. Another unit that has experienced tremendous growth recently is the women's tennis team, who happens to be playing their last pair of home matches of the season. First on the slate is 10-7 New Mexico. The Lobos enter this match with a parallel record to the Rams at 3-5 in Mountain West play. When looking at the roster, two names in particular stand out. 11-3 Catherine Zhang has absolutely dominated Mountain West opponents, going 5-1 in conference play. Expect to see her at 2 singles this weekend, as she's played 12 out of her 14 matches at that spot. Meanwhile, Belgium native Maud van de Putte is currently sitting at 7-2 overall, but merely 1-2 in league play. All of van de Putte's matches have been at either 4 or 5 singles. With a big complex like CSU, she is assured a match, so that 4 or 5 spot could become crucial. Shifting our focus to day 2, the other opponent the Rams will welcome to FOCO is in-state rival Air Force. The Falcons reside at 10-9 overall and 4-2 in conference. When analyzing the resume, it's clear where they shine. Doubles. 1-2 dubs support a combined 23-6 record, with 2 dubs riding a 5-match win streak. It won't be a surprise if the Falcons end up taking the point there. Singles, on the other hand, is where the Rams can really take advantage of this squad, as only 2 players have a winning duel record, Abby Kotuna and Ariana Van Hooling. Despite Kotuna's mildly impressive 7-5 duel record, she's undefeated in conference and has played at 4 different positions. That said, expect to see her at 5 singles. Van Hooling, on the other hand, has played all her matches at 6 singles and has dominated. She's 13-3 overall, 4-1 in conference, and rides a 6-match win streak coming into this weekend. Once again, given the size of CSU's tennis complex, both 5 and 6 singles are assured matches, so expect the result to come down to a clincher. Overall, this should be a fun weekend for the Rams, and we have to remember CSU is 6-0 at home, so having that home court advantage is huge. But in the end, we'll just have to wait and see how it all unfolds. And well, Rams, that's all the sporting news I have for you tonight. Be sure to tune in to Tuesday Night Sports for more about exactly how tennis fared in their weekend doubleheader. Don't leave quite yet, though, because when we return, Zoe Weir will tell you all about one CSU event that's sure to rope you in.
Welcome back from the break, Rams. As a school that takes pride in our Aggie roots, CSU's Alpha Gamma Rho paid homage to at their recent philanthropy event, and it was clearly not their first rodeo. Alpha Gamma Rho and Sigma Alpha presented the Alpha Gamma Rodeo last Thursday in order to raise money for AgriBility.
But we have a good relationship with the Colorado division, and we actually have a couple representatives coming out. They basically make agriculture accessible to everyone, so farmers and ranchers with disabilities get access to doing the work they love again, whether that be a lift for their tractor or special hand controls. That's just like what we're here to raise money for.
They also kind of advocate for sustainable agriculture, which is something recently we have all been getting kind of into and trying to bring into our own lives. Yeah, we've got all kinds of things here. We've got our home-cooked barbecue that we're doing. We've got the mechanical bull, the axe throwing, our live band, which just started playing. We got dum-dum games, lots of good auction items, and we're here from 4 to 8 p.m., so.
It was so fun to do-si-do on over to Alpha Gamma Rho. This event ended up making $5,200 in profit from students attending. I am definitely looking forward to next year. You know, coming from southern Minnesota, about an hour north of Iowa, this definitely wasn't my first rodeo, but how about you guys?
Yeah, I mean, I've definitely been to my fair share of rodeos, both in Colorado and a little bit when I lived in Tennessee, but I don't know if that was exactly what I would envision a rodeo to look like.
Frat-style rodeo, though.
Exactly.
I mean, I've personally never been to a rodeo, but I've rode a pony. Does that count?
Fair enough.
There you go, riding ponies.
There's some experience there.
A little bit.
Guess we're all gonna go next year, right?
Yes. Oh yeah, we'll ride some horses this time.
Exactly. Step up.
Yeah.
All right, well, Rams, that is all we have for you tonight. I'm JJ McKinney.
And I'm Naomi Hillmer. Have a good night, Rams. We'll see you soon.